Welcome to the dumbest smart guy podcast on the planet. This is the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. It's an all-new episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. As always, my name's Josh, and I'm here today with good buddy Adam.
Yes, hello.
So, actually, let me pull this up a little. This episode originally, we tried to record a week ago.
Oh, we're starting over.
Yeah, we're just starting over.
Okay.
Because I've sort of changed things a little bit, but I wanted to give the context. So we originally recorded this episode, and it was originally called, What is the Strategy Here in Iran? And now we're going to talk about that a little bit, but I changed the name of the episode to How Does This Affect LeBron's Legacy?
My favorite question, dude. You could tie that into anything, dude.
Yeah, and the reason is because like that's something that Adam always fucking says, and I fucking say it now. And it's in regards to like if you're talking about some shit, just anything random, you just go, yeah, but how does this affect LeBron's
It's like
legacy?
the Ja Rule shit, dude. It's like, it's like, oh my god, what does Ja Rule think about this?
Yeah. Oh, the
where is Ja?
invasion of Iran or the war in Iran. What does Ja Rule think about this though? That's honestly, what really matters. Like,
yeah.
So and part of that is like, yeah, it's funny, and also because there is an aspect of like, okay, yeah, people asking about LeBron's legacy, like with inserting it into anything, that's just like a selfish like thing, you know, to say like, yeah, but how does this affect me, right? And so like that's kind of what we're also going to talk about because it ties into stuff that I've been saying for literally years, and now I think we're really starting to get into the high realm of possibility, or I should say probability, a high probability or decent probability that something's going to happen that's going to really, really affect us here in the United States. And so, and things change in this conflict on a daily basis, right? Like literally day to day shit changes. And in relation to the previous episode we did, things have changed even since then when we started. And the reason why we started the episode last week and then the power went out, we were like fucking 20 minutes in and the power went out and my power was out for like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours. So we ended up not getting to finish. And this is the first chance we've had to like sit down and actually meet up again to like do more episodes since then. So, in context of what we talked about last time, just to kind of wrap it up a little bit, sum it up a little, was the multitudes of reports that were running out of interceptor missiles, that were running out of the Patriot missile system. I briefly went into how the Patriot missile system costs delivered to the Middle East between $6 and $12 million. And we generally fire at least 3 projectiles at whatever it is we're trying to shoot down, whether it be a missile or whether it be now a lot of other countries that were using it were being pretty undisciplined with it, and they were using it to shoot down drones, which if you're going to use it to shoot down like $150,000 or $200,000 drone, that's you're going to literally throw $18 million in missiles at it just to hit it. That's a terrible idea. And that's kind of why we're in the situation that we're in. Iran has been shooting off their missiles, right? And those missiles are a lot cheaper than $12 million fucking dollars a piece. It's not really costing them much in the way of doing it, so we're sending 18 to $36 million, depending on where the location is, to shoot down one missile, one one ballistic missile from Iran or the Houthis or whoever.
Can I ask? Can I throw something?
Yeah.
All right, man. What do you think about? For us, right, to have all these private companies, well, not private companies, but companies like Northrop Grumman, Lockheed and Martin, all this shit. And now that we're finding out that Iran is able to do warfare cheaper, who does it really benefit to have like these expensive fighters now at this point if warfare has kind of changed completely, right? If it costs like $10 million to make an F-35 or an F-15 or whatever, it's like, are we really using those at this point? And for the way that Iran is fighting, like kind of putting the universal hurt on all of us with this oil shit and the Strait of Hormuz, they don't actually have to do anything. Like, so I don't know if, I know those are kind of like unrelated things, but maybe they are, but just, I feel like, what does it really benefit for us to have fighter jets that are worth 10 or, you know, if it's like $1 billion or whatever the fuck it costs to make a whole fleet of those things, like, so what, dude?
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, now at this point, we are getting into, and this is where we're getting into that point of what Eisenhower talked about when he gave that speech when he left office. Beware of the military-industrial complex. Like, he literally pointed that out, and I've talked about that before. And if you don't fucking believe me, you can go back and watch Eisenhower's fucking leaving office speech that he gave in 1950 something or whenever the fuck it was. And the reason why is because our military budget for 2027 is $1.5 trillion is what they're gonna spend. $1.5 trillion. That's $1,000 million plus another $500 fucking million dollars. Or billion, I mean, I'm sorry, that's 1,000 billion plus another 500 billion.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. And what are we spending it on? If you look at they always say that thing about the Pentagon never fucking can pass an audit. And the reason for that is because there's 3 companies charging $7,000 for one single 3/8 wrench, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of like the level, and that's probably an over-exaggerated and a facetious type of answer, but it's not far off. They're charging for one nut or a rivet on a plane, it's $900, right? And they need 2,000 rivets or whatever on something, and it's $900 a rivet. That's how these weapon systems become so inflated. And if you look at, there's a reason why all the defense contractor stocks always go up as soon as they get a contract, because it's instantaneous, huge amounts of profit, because they do shit on the super, super cheap, and they charge 50 times or 100 times the price of what it cost to do it, right? And so this is when now the face of warfare is changing. Technology has the shrinking of technology and the higher level of access to it that everyone has now has changed the face of warfare. Drones, all this shit on the cheap missiles, cheap drones, that's the future of warfare.
Disinformation, propaganda.
Right, electronic warfare, hacking, that kind of stuff. That's free. Hacking is free. It doesn't cost anything. Yeah, you got to have some computers and shit, but it's basically free. What? Is there something flying around?
Oh, yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to keep track of a mosquito because I think it bit me right now.
Oh, son of a bitch.
All right,
anyways, that's the drawbacks of the garage studio.
Yeah.
But anyways, there was something that recently just happened, and this is a good example of the Navy just did like an exercise for the submarine fleet readiness, and they did not like the results. It's coming out basically that the submarine fleet is not ready for any kind of major conflict. And an example of that being our logistical shit has fucking gone awry because we spend too much money on these stupid ass fucking weapons platforms that these companies could make, maybe a 3 or 4x profit, or maybe even a 5 or 10x profit would be cool. But instead they want to make 100x profit. And now we're in this situation where we got to spend so much fucking money that we don't have, and we're really not getting decent quality stuff anymore. One of the big things with this shit is there was a I think it was the USS, I don't know, I think it was Ohio, or it was some fucking Midwest state or city name. I forget which one it was, but it was a Los Angeles class attack submarine. And in 2017, it went in dry dock to go get its service done. And by like 2019, they were like, the Navy basically just said it lost its dive certification because it had been out of the water for over 2 years. The Navy just said, we don't have any reliable timeline of when this is going to get in, just to get the basic maintenance on it done, right? Like the dry dock maintenance that needs to be performed on every fucking Navy ship every few years. they didn't have a time frame of when it could get the service done, so they just fucking mothballed it and they just fucking took it out of service. So we have a really big problem with our naval fleet not getting the service it needs and having the backlog of getting that service done. And now China has surpassed us in Navy ships in terms of, now, granted, everybody was always the quality, they're pieces of shit. Yeah, you can have, okay, that's been true. But now coming into the mid 2020s now, and we're really heading towards the late 2020s, the qualitative advantage that we have had is starting to diminish greatly. And we're beginning to see that wane. So getting into, okay, how does this now affect us here? Like, how does that affect us in the United States? And how does this affect LeBron's legacy, basically, is what we're fucking talking about. And I believe, like, right now, what it's looking like right now is that sometime in the next couple of days, I think as early as tomorrow, which is Saturday, August 1st, I think that we're going to see the rumor is that there's been strike packages approved to just decimate Iran's civilian infrastructure, that they are going to just decimate that shit and try to get Iran to come back to the table. And if that doesn't work, which it won't, then they're going to just basically spend 2 weeks. They have another 2-week plan where they're just going to basically bomb Iran for 24 hours a day straight for 2 fucking weeks. That's like the plan, essentially. That's what's been kind of coming out. Now, could all just be bullshit. Who knows? But with the way these things have been going, these leaks have been happening, and they turn out to generally be like true, I wouldn't fucking put it past them to believe that this is a viable fucking option. And with that being said, we have had problems here in the United States in the past of just unchecked fucking people coming in, right? Which, again, I think we should just let everybody in, and we should just have an easy process that's not, fucking super restrictive. Just let people come in. It'll all be good. We won't have to worry about this shit. But I don't think that it's far-fetched to see our own infrastructure here be attacked. And not with a cyber attack. I'm talking about, that is possible. It has happened in the last day, in the last 24 hours, it's come out that 7 states were cyber attacked for their water infrastructure. Minnesota being the one that came out as the first one. 30 municipalities, including cities and counties, and I don't know what they have, like fucking, not counties over there. It's like, I don't know what they call them, like townships or whatever. Like 30 major areas of water systems, their infrastructure was breached. And it's not really coming out what the extent was, whether it was service interruptions, whether it was the filtration stuff that we rely heavily upon, if that was affected at all. But Minnesota and 6 other states supposedly had this happen, and the FBI is investigating it, and everyone's pointing to Iran. Trump came out and said, it wasn't Iran. He says it was the corrupt governor of Minnesota and, Tim
Walz.
Yeah, basically. And he was just blaming it on the governor and his corruption, and that's why these water things went down, which, when he says shit like that, that makes me then further believe, oh yeah, fucking Iran definitely probably had something to do with this. Now, Iran is not like a powerhouse of what's the word? Technological capability. They have competent cyber attack capabilities, but they're not the best. Our shit here is just so weak and our infrastructure is so bad that it's not really difficult to do this type of stuff, cyber attack wise. I am still, and one of the things that, and I've started to hear this, and I've been saying this for years, but I've started to hear this now in come out and kind of like starting to be in the mainstream stuff of people talking about, where a physical attack on the power grid is not out of the realm of possibility, that there's a lot of very competent, high-level intelligence agency people that really, this is like the thing that keeps them up at night, is the fact that our infrastructure is so unprotected, it's so easily accessible, maybe just a chain link fence with barbed wire is blocking our major hubs. And as we've talked about before, there's only about 12 major hubs throughout the whole United States that if you take down, really there's like 3 to 4 real important ones. And if you take one of them down, you will essentially lose power to a third to the half of the United States. We'll just lose power if one of those major hubs is hit. And again, they're not very well guarded. This is not a secret. All it would take, and again, the thing coming out is all it would take is maybe 7-8 guys with fucking AK-47s to just go and shoot it up. And as we've talked about in previous episodes regarding China and the threat that they could potentially pose, we've talked about that happening here, where there have been instances where small power stations, multiple times in multiple different locations throughout the United States and over the course of several years, there had been incidences where there were little small power areas and power stations that were attacked by gunfire, and nothing was ever found. No one was ever, no harm was ever, or not no harm, but no perpetrators were ever taken into custody because some dudes just came out of the woods and just opened fire on it and then left. That is something that's not out of the realm of possibility that could happen. And could there very well be a couple hundred, Iranian guys that once we killed Khomeini back during the first Trumpet, or not Khomeini, the Soleimani, the general that Trump drone struck or whatever, back during his first term. Did they just finally say, okay, we've been preparing for a conflict with the United States or the West essentially for the last 47 years. Maybe we need to start, instead of just focusing on defense, maybe we need to focus on an offensive capability. And I would not put it out of the realm of possibility that they sent some people over here. Again, it's not hard to cross the border, either northern or southern, and it's not hard to come across, just come off of a container ship going up one of the coasts on a small little dinghy craft and then just land anywhere along the eastern or western seaboard and just walk right in with backpacks and fucking shit full of, AK-47s and fucking, ammunition. It's not difficult, and cash. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And I'm starting to believe that it's going to be something that could very well likely happen. And as we've talked about in the past, if that is something that happens here, it's going to be years before that power is able to come back on. I mean, we're talking literal years. And now, maybe even never, because guess who controls all the rare earth elements that are needed to make those fucking transformers and to make those, things? It's China. They now have their finger on the tap to be able to say, and they're already doing it to us. No, you guys can't have this. We're not gonna let you guys have this now. Hell, at this point, China doesn't even need to really do anything to us. This whole Iran situation is possibly going to play out to where, if we had something happen here like that, and a third or half of the country lost power, or God forbid, the whole fucking country loses power.
Self-inflicted.
It would be a self-inflicted wound at this point, because we started this bullshit. And granted, the American people are generally, most of us are not in favor of this fucking conflict and had nothing to do with it, but we will be suffering the consequences of that. We will be suffering the consequences of the actions of people in charge. And that's why it's important to fucking, not fall for the bullshit. Everybody fell for the bullshit. I hope people learn from this. Hey, man, no new wars. Gonna end wars, all this stuff. Now here we are, fucking 18 months in, about to fucking go into a full-blown well, we basically started World War III. That's basically what I think this will be. This will be like, okay, the Russia invading Ukraine was the beginnings of it, was the inklings of it. This Middle Eastern conflict is starting to suck in more countries in the Middle East. The Gulf countries are starting to get on board with stuff. The Houthis in Yemen, Ansar Allah is what they go by or whatever over there. That's their organization. They've now made this a regional conflict, and by doing such, it's now going to make this a global conflict soon enough. And I think once we start hitting the Iranian infrastructure, that's when it's going to start getting real fucking ugly. And my hope is that this talk of all this shit is just them doing such. It's talking shit. It's just running their mouth to try to get Iran to come back to the table and negotiate. I don't think negotiation is in the cards anymore. Like, I don't think the Iranians even care. They've literally sat and prepared for the last 47 years for this exact scenario to happen. There are underground cities that are just like little honeycombs all throughout their fucking vast land that are just there. That's what they've been doing the last 47 years. They've been building this shit for this exact fucking like contingency. And we've walked into the trap, and now they're doing it. The contingency is working. The regime has survived a full decapitation strike. It has survived. The majority of its upper leadership at the time the war started being fucking killed. And it's still going. It's still happening. So that's what they've been waiting on. And I don't believe for a second that they just would have been focusing on that. So I think that if we just get up and walk away, that's what I think the move is. I think the solution to all this, at least for the United States to be better for us, is just to get up and walk away. Now, what does that do to us globally? Well, that ends the U.S. hegemony altogether. It's done. The petrodollar, done. We are past the point of no return where no matter what happens now, we will feel the effects of it, and it will be bad. It depends how long this continues, how bad it's going to be. But we're already past the point of no return. The petrodollar is fucking toast. This has now proven that we cannot do what we said we can do. And unless we do completely end up just decimating the fucking Iranian regime and reopening the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait by force, if we don't go in and anything short of that, we're toast. So even if we get up now and walk away, the U.S. dollar's dead. The petrodollar's done. Because now what we're looked at by the rest of the world is now, okay, these guys kind of started this shit and now they can't really finish it. We've been paying them and basically going along with their scheme for protection. Well, if they can't even fucking open up this fucking one waterway, how the fuck are we, what are we doing here? We need to go to somewhere that's safer or somewhere that's a safe bet. And that's China. That's the yuan. That's the BRICS, whatever the fuck they're going to come up with. And people countries are already starting to turn away from the petrodollar. Now, the Saudis are heavily reliant upon it. The Qataris, the Omanis, the Emiratis, they're generally pretty heavily, we've gotten them into the system, the petrodollar system, and they're reliant. So they're probably going to heavily be getting involved if this thing continues, because if it fails and we don't take down Iran completely, then their countries are probably going to be screwed for a while. And they're going to have major financial problems just like we're going to have here. And that major financial problems are the death knell of any Middle Eastern regime, because how they usually take care of it, they just pay the populace more money. But you got to have money to do that. And if the fucking petrodollar turns to shit, their country currency turns to shit, and now they can't fucking give anybody more money because it doesn't matter how much money you give, you're fucked. And so
probably why they pivoted to tourism.
Yeah, that is because they've realized that this game is probably up, but they're still going to have the problems. The shit is still going down. And if you look at an indicator of this shit, if you look at the guy who's the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, he always looks like he's fucking worried or he's scared or he's about to take, like he can't shit or something, like he's constipated or whatever. He always has this fucking look of consternation on his face. And I think the reason for that is because he sees what's going on from the financial perspective, and who knows if he understands or knows what's going on the conflict or the fucking kinetic side, but that's kind of irrelevant. He can see what the results are on the fucking financial side, and I think he's genuinely fucking concerned because this shit's all about to come, this house of cards that we've built is about to come crashing fucking down.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a problem. it's gonna be a fucking problem. And in the United States, we are going to go through. And here's the thing: I don't know. They were saying about how there was some fucking indicator. I forget which one it was, but they were talking about how, oh yeah, if the inflation or something happens or hits a certain point, then we're basically, going into an unprecedented economic collapse that would be worse than the Great Depression, and it would be on a global scale. And that's exactly literally where we're headed. Like, we're literally headed towards that right now as we speak, with this conflict continuing to keep going. And I don't know if people realize it or see it, but like today alone, I was just driving around, and the cost of diesel here in Southern California is almost $8 a gallon again. Gasoline is getting back up above $6 a gallon again. And we're getting closer to that point where now we have 308 million barrels left in the strategic reserve. And as everything that's kind of now been starting to come out, 300 million barrels is that kind of cutoff where now we start getting into the problems of being able to refill it and being able to extract it. And the one thing that I didn't think about, which was I heard today, was some guy kind of just brought it up and very briefly, was that the quality of that 300 million, that bottom 300 million barrels has been sitting in there for a long time. And the quality of it is very poor. So once we get below 300 million barrels, now you start being able to not really do much with it. Now you can't really make those advanced jet fuels that we use to make it out of crude oil. You can't really make regular gasoline out of it anymore. It's kind of a stretch to even make fucking diesel fuel out of it. So we only got 8 million barrels left, and we dropped another, I think, like 4 or 5 million this week. So we've got probably another week or two before we start getting into we're releasing the shit that's bad. So we are probably looking at like August, September, probably September being when the fuel storages really start being a problem, and there not being commercial availability. And the big thing is jet fuel. That's the big thing that's going to hurt us here. People ain't going to be able to fly because you can't fly if there ain't no fucking gas. Like, if there ain't no jet fuel, the plane can't go. So I have a feeling we're going to start seeing a lot of fucking problems start hitting when it comes to that in the next couple of months. And that's my, thought and prediction, unless we can go in and just fucking by force open up the strait and get everything flowing. It's not going to be an instant fix. There's still going to be a little bit of strife and trouble, but it'll be better than nothing. So at any rate, it will affect us. It's getting to that point now where this conflict, Afghanistan, Iraq, that shit really didn't fucking affect us here much at home, right? And there is not a generation that was really alive to see a war affect them here in the United States at home, to affect us here. Vietnam, didn't really have any economic or whatever. We had people protesting about peace and shit like that, but there were really no like major negative side effects of Vietnam, right? Like, we didn't have any major economic problems. Probably World War II would have been the last generation that saw strife here due to a conflict, was probably World War II. Because yes, there were shortages of stuff. You had to start growing your own food. That's why they had the whole Victory Gardens thing, because they had a shortage. Everything needed to go to the war effort. So cool, grow your own food. That was what the government's fucking solution was. Just grow your own shit in your yard. So we can send it overseas, all the other shit overseas to the troops and feed them. So yeah, that was people that were alive during World War II and can remember. There's very few of them left. So not a whole lot of people in the United States remember what it feels like to be affected in that way. And I think a lot of people are in for a rude awakening. And it's that fucking, that meme that we always say, all the people who voted for fucking Trump, oh no, the consequences of my own actions.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what it is. It's the consequences of your own actions. Now they're coming back to bite us all in the ass, because you guys thought it was a cool guy thing, and you fell for the tricks.
Drank the Kool-Aid.
Yep, drank the Kool-Aid. So, anyways, I don't see it getting better. And my prediction is that this weekend, I feel like this weekend is when it's going to hit. We're going to start hitting those fucking targets, those infrastructure targets, and shit's going to pop off. I feel like Saturday is probably like tomorrow night. Like, I feel like it's going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe, hopefully, they're just talking shit. So, anyways, I think that's all about I had to say about this. Do you have anything else you want to add or say?
Man, I have no idea. I've been thinking about it where I'm curious to know if nature itself, or maybe it's just humans doing it because it's in our nature to do it, but fuck, man, I do wonder if it's that thing that everybody says. It's like, oh yeah, every so often we have a culling event. Like, what if every 100 years we really do have a culling event because the population at large is so untenable for humans that it just becomes problematic. And I'm not saying, I don't know if like nations organize for things to go, for them to plan as if things could go wrong. Like, okay, for this whole, specifically for the US, right? There's 330 million people, or I don't even know what the actual number is of human beings within the United States that are citizens. So what do you do to curb our population? You instigate a war to crash the economy. You allow corporations to purchase damn near everything and make obscene amount of money, or obscene amount of money, or obscene. Is it obscene or obscene?
Obscene, yeah.
Obscene amount of money.
Obscene amounts of money.
Obscene amounts of money. You have private corporations buying private farms. And then you basically invalidate our whole political system and have corporations kind of dictate what happens with it, because they could basically influence any politician to do exactly what they want, which is exactly what has happened. We're becoming kind of like a dysfunctional government at this point. I mean, it's long overdue. It was like a long time coming, basically. But all that really to say that just within exclusively the United States, you really didn't need to have mass murderings or anything like that. That also happens to shootings and all that shit. But like, if you really want to put the hurt on people, do it economically, and they'll fucking find a way to kill themselves or do shit like that. I mean, because it's been said that the number one reason for crime is usually poverty. So it's like when people go out and riot and do all, like, you're really inciting people to commit crime, violence, all that shit. So here we are. We're going to have that scenario. If it was indirectly or directly influenced by, I don't know if you want to call it the elite or the Illuminati or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And maybe it's not them at all. Maybe it's just kind of like the natural order of the world that it just happens that way. But like, just speaking about the US specifically, like intentionally crashing the economy for people just to really fucking feel it and potentially die. Like, we didn't need guns, dude. Like, that's just going to be, I'm sure this whole funding of like SNAP benefits being taken and WIC and all this shit, that's going to hurt and kill a lot of kids already. Taking any kind of Medicare, another calling situation. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that you're right. I think you're right on the money, and I think that it all ties in. And, you know, if you make it so that people can't afford to fucking eat and then you turn off the fucking power, that's a recipe for fucking disaster. And the problem is we're too fucking stupid as a whole to realize what's going on. And to unite together, and I've said this before 1,000 times, it doesn't matter, black, white, yellow, green, Jew, non-Jew, Muslim, whatever, the fucking biggest dividing color is green.
Yeah.
It's money. It's the haves and the have-nots. And there's always more of us have-nots. The peasant class, there's way more of us than there is of the elite ruling class. And at least here in America, we own the most guns per capita of any fucking country on the planet. And the whole reason our whole existence was created was like, hey, if the government starts fucking up, you guys should have these things so you can fucking kill them all and take over and reset this shit. That's the whole point. And here we are. Even fucking the Civil War back in the 1800s, it wasn't over it was over fucking business. It was economic. It was a business fucking reason because of slavery. And they didn't want to give up the slaves because they wanted the free fucking labor so they could make huge profits. That corporatism was already existing back then in fucking the 1800s. It was just a plantation owner instead of a corporation, right? So it's become a much bigger and much worse monster than even that. And so if we all could just figure it out and band together and realize, oh, that's the problem. It's the fucking top 1% or 5% or whatever. That's the problem. Cool, we got to get rid of that shit. We got to get rid of these huge corporations and we got to stop we don't need to get rid of them maybe, but we need to stop their influence, right? And so I think that it all ties in, to put a nice little tied bow on it, this is the coming end of an empire, right? Our American empire is coming to an end. This grand experiment of the United States was fucking great for 200 fucking years, 250 years almost. And now it has kind of started to go off of the fucking rails.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if it was too big to work, like if it should have just been territories. Like, I don't want to like point to the movie Civil War, but I don't know, maybe the Union was just too much of a big dream. Maybe it should have been like Europe, where every individual country is its own state and nation, but there was a collective. I mean, I guess it would be, like, in my estimation, it would be like Cascadia, as people have mentioned, like Seattle, Washington, California, maybe Arizona and Nevada would be included in that.
Yeah.
That would be one region, and then
Texas would be its own thing.
Yeah, but we all would operate in similar mindsets. I mean, if people in Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana, fucking whatever adjacent states want to align and do that, maybe that should have been the way to go from the get-go, because as it is right now, it ain't fucking working.
It ain't fucking working. And it ain't gonna matter soon enough, it seems like. So, anyways, all right, well, that's all I had. So, you got anything else you want to add? All right, we'll call it a day. Go find us on all our shit. You know where to go. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Was the latest episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Don't forget, subscribe and like on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. We're also on Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Also our website, www.GameRageMagazine.com.